And he's got the ace going for him. He's
Well,
he has set call, and he's going to be an underdog here. Zieder is the player who's all in, and an ace could spell the end of his evening. Cowboys for Zieder, ace-queen for Tort. He's hit most things tonight so far, Tort, and there's the ace again, but a flush draw for Zieder.
Come on.
He needs a spade now.
Needs a spade or a king.
Or a king, yeah.
Give me a spade. Come on.
That's not it.
No spade.
One card away from elimination, and Tord will be a massive chip leader. Spade or a king. It's not there. And Tord takes another one out. Zieder started with the best hand, but when the ace came on the flop, it spelled the end. And the Dutchman has to go. He's fought a very brave battle. Very sporting pat on the back there for his conqueror. So Zieder is out, and we are three-handed.
This event here in Vienna is very well organized. I'm used to that from Concord Casino, and I probably will be back in the next EPM event, yes, for sure.
It's Series 1 of our European Poker Masters events. We've seen a thriller in London, won by Gus Hansen, and we are getting to the business end here in Vienna, and one man is dominating, Richard Tort from Hungary, who has nearly 500,000 in chips. You can see his steady progression, and he's never been in trouble. And then you see the green worm of Orlov, Gregory Orlov, who is the short stack, just barely 40,000 chips. It's not a great deal that Orlov can do, Jeff, on the short stack here, other than get his chips in with a decent hand and hope it holds up.
You can't even afford to really wait for a decent hand. I mean, any ace, any pair.
And with the blinds at 4,000 and 8,000, Jeff, he just has to make a move in the next 2 or 3 hands. He's got no choice.
He's got 4 or 5 hands.
What are the tactics here going to be from Kalo? Is he going to wait till Orlov goes out to try and challenge towards chip lead?
Yeah, definitely. He might try to take Orlov out himself. I mean, Orlov hasn't got all that many chips, so. And that's the type of hand he might want to do with a pair of 3s.
34,000. Gregory passed.
Wow, Gregory passed. Right, Gregory's getting drained down now. He's got 32,000. It was very important that he played that hand. He lost, I mean, he's the small blind now. Even if he doubles through, he's only up to 60, whereas as opposed to doubling through when he had 40, he'd have 80.
Decent raising percentage, as you can see, 46%. Hands 1 isn't bad either. Well, he's found an ace, and that's way good enough with the chips he's got.
He'll call with that. Toad's got a queen jack. He'll call with that, I'd say.
31,500. Call. Richard calls.
Well, he has called it.
Dennis. Should have expected.
Okay, that's going to go away. So Orlov's going to be slight favourite here. Orlov's tournament, though, is on the line. And his heart rate reflects that, and Tort's getting excited too. He knows he's within sight of a heads-up confrontation. Well, 2 pair for Orlov. Queen would change everything. It's 2 pair now, but it's not good enough yet. No one's got a heart. Oh, full house for Tort. Sometimes when it's your night, it's your night. He was a mile behind. All off flock 2 pair, it still wasn't enough. And the Lithuanian has to go. He was right up there in the early stages, but what can you say about Richard Tort?
Yeah.
That's how you win tournaments. You have to be good and you have to be lucky.
We started out with more than 100 players at the Austrian Classics, brought to you by Absolute Poker, and now we are down to just 2. And we have ourselves an all-Hungarian battle for the title. It should be fascinating. The chip leader is Richard Tort, 27 years old, and his aggression and the fact that he's hitting cards has given all his opponents nightmares. However, that may not bother Dennis Kalo, his opponent tonight, because he's the man who doesn't sleep. 40 hours and counting. Remember, he qualified for the final table. He drove back to Hungary, put some work in, drove back here, and his worm has gradually got nearer and nearer to that of Richard Tort. 517, plays 357. Sporting a handshake between 2 fellow countrymen. Tort's got the chip lead, Jeff. Who do you fancy here?
I fancy Tort. He's been playing well the whole tournament. He's shown that he can be aggressive. Yeah.
Dennis announced race. 24,000.
First raise of our heads-up battle.
Well, they're heads up now, so every hand starts to look good. King 8 is quite reasonable. King 8, 6-8 suited, sorry, is another reasonable hand.
No help for anyone there.
That's 33,000.
That's an aggressive
That's
play.
the Tort we know and love.
That's what I like. He's aggressive.
And yet again, and for the umpteenth time tonight, he's got the man with the better hand to lay it down.
That's one hand which you'd consider just throwing away if you ever were going to throw one away.
He doesn't do things like that, Jeff. He's calling.
Well, I've never seen him throw one away, but that's one definitely that he could give some consideration to.
Cunning check with the ace.
Wow.
Pair of 3s for Tort. Pair of 4s for Kalo,
Richard bet 13,000.
who also has the straight draw.
Ah, yes, he's check raising here.
Raise to 50,000.
And what's going through Tort's mind here? He knows that Kalo might be slow playing something. He checked pre-flop.
Well, he's got a 3, which is a hand. But that's the first time that Kalo's checked raised. So he's on his mind is the fact that he's going to consider Kalo having a big hand. Anyway, he does call.
King doesn't change anything. Kalo still with second pair.
Dennis bets 80,000.
Now, Kalo knows that since Tote called, he's got one of those pairs, or he's got a 5 for a straight draw. So he knows that the king more or less doesn't help him, and he's now betting into him.
Going to cost Tort